What up, y'all? It's your girl Delia here, joined by Gail and the mighty E-Rock, and we are here with another Eagles Landing podcast where you can get your Eagles and NFL fix from fans across the globe every hump day. Live on YouTube every Wednesday night, available on iTunes and Stitcher, so please give us a rating, only if it's a good one, and subscribe to all of us and all that jazz. So, before we get into everything, the boys and I have been discussing the idea of renaming this podcast. So, the title Iggles Landing, it's kind of spelled a little funky, and we did it because of the homie PhilaDehlia. That was like his Twitter handle, but now he's no longer here, and it almost feels like maybe we shouldn't use that name anymore. So what I want to know is people in the comments. I see you, Baylor Lynn, going to your first Eagles game this Sunday. You want to throw out some suggestions and let us know how you feel about the name. Here's some ideas I was thinking. Maybe instead of spelling Iggles Landing, Iggles, maybe just have it Eagles Landing, because that's what people search for when they search Eagles. You guys have any ideas, Mr. E-Rock and Gail?
How about 3 Eagles fans and a baby?
Ah!
Oh
my gosh! That's great. Oh, dang. All right. There's an option, too. Mr. Gail, any new name options you'd like to throw out there for the...
I don't know if I can follow up on that
one. I know, that was so perfect. Wow. Alrighty. Straight up. Okay.
Eagles fans coast to coast.
Okay. Coast to coast, so the whole... All right. I guess to help anybody that would like to give us suggestions, kind of the idea behind our podcast here is, Eagles fans, we rep all across the globe, man. We are everywhere, not just in Philly. So me, myself, I'm in Los Angeles. We got Gail up in New York, enemy territory. And, of course, we got E-Rock holding it down in Philly. So we got coast-to-coast action, and it's all about getting perspective on people that follow the same team. Anything, does that work for you guys as our kind of definition of a podcast?
Well, that's so appropriate because Eagles fans are one of the best traveled fan bases. We are indeed nationwide, worldwide. I'm sure, Delia, you get hit up by Eagles fans not only across the USA but across the world.
Oh yeah.
So it's not only coast to coast; it is worldwide. It is a global Eagles network, and it is awesome.
Eagles Global Landing.
What were some of the ideas that you had?
Eagles Global Landing or Eagles Coast to Coast, or just Eagles Landing spelled out, or what is it? 3 Eagles fans and a baby?
3 Eagles fans and a baby.
Is that
it sounds like a sitcom spinoff.
I love that one. I almost want to just use that because it's just so randomly but perfectly describes what's going on here for the moment. So,
yeah.
Okay. I see you. So, anybody in the comments, this is kind of my moment to let you know, give us some suggestions, or if you don't feel like giving suggestions, talk about the podcast, give us some questions, give us some topics you'd like to cover. For those of you that are new here, we do Eagles talk first, then we close it out with NFL, just random news, and yeah, so we'll take your suggestions. I will be browsing through periodically as we discuss. So, with that, I'll close out with a couple more shout-outs. We have Further AM and ECW in the mix. So, nice to see some familiar names. And I guess let's just get right into it, fellas. Another, I forgot what a winning streak felt like. But we have one 2-game win streak. It feels pretty good. I'm going to enjoy it while it lasts. I know at any moment it can just be done with and we never see it again. So I'm still high on life. I'm really happy after this 20-23 victory over the Bills with that big storyline of all the drama with Shady McCoy. How y'all doing after this win?
Well, I mean, it certainly is a case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde with this team. I mean, after coming off of three really bad losses, I mean, really bad losses, disappointing losses against some mediocre teams, they go and shock the world against the Patriots and then follow it up with a hard-fought battle against a very tough, I don't care what anybody says about them, a very tough Buffalo Bills team. So, I mean, it's such a contrast of how this team is played, and it is really good for the fans. I mean, we did a video, Gale and I, for PhillyInfluencer.com, of the fans coming out of Lincoln Financial Field and just the overwhelming joy that they were experiencing at home. It was so good to see. It is so good to see this team battle and fight for each other. You know, forget what the fans say. Forget all the outside noise. If they're fighting for each other, God bless them. I hope they keep it going against the Cardinals.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty excited just seeing this team actually start to gel together as a unit. Something went on in that locker room, whether it be Chip Kelly, Jeff Lurie, or even Sammy Biscuits sparking the energy in that locker room. Whether it's his, his speeches in the locker room or in the shower, wherever he's doing it well. And this team is, I don't know, we have a team, folks, in Philadelphia that's
Oh,
winning. So,
oh,
hey, I'll take
all
another
right.
win.
I like it. Nothing but good vibes I'm sensing right now. It's like, all right, we see this team. This win kind of showed me this is our Eagles. This is the Eagles team, the real Eagles team we're working with. And in my mind, I have voided out any game where Mark Sanchez has played. So I'm like, you know what? You take out those games, we are a legit team. So I'm feeling good about that as long as he never touches the field again. Um, that's kind of my one thing. This is kind of overhanging is like, Bradford, you got to stay healthy. That everything relies on him staying healthy. So, yeah, I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited. And actually, I don't know if you guys saw my bet video that Mark Vader sent me, and I responded with a bet of my own. And lucky me, I won. And there are two Bills fans, as a result of this game, who will have to ultimately be fed to the birds in the sense that they're going to have to wear a fish and bird suit, however they would like to construct it. And they will have to go
What?
out. Both of these fans, one of them is in Los Angeles. I did their Take Five podcast this past Saturday. And the other one is in NorCal in San Jose, by
Are
San
they
Jose.
filming this?
And they will, of course, they're going to film it. We haven't
Okay.
actually gotten into the logistics of how to do it properly. So I'm gonna think that out. If you guys have some ideas of the most effective way to have this done, because I want it to be like just go out to the beach areas where there's a lot of seagulls and they kind of flock towards any crumbs
Oh my
and
God.
like have them toss out some crumbs to lure some of the birds and then just lay down and be the platter.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Sounds like a bad
So
science fiction
so
flick.
so that is something we all have to look forward to. Bills fans. If I would have lost, I would have had to have been drenched in ketchup and mustard. Like they would all have
Oh.
bottles of ketchup and mustard and just drench me until you can't even see anything on me anymore. So,
Well, isn't that a thing in Buffalo though? Isn't there a guy at the Buffalo tailgates that'll always drench himself in ketchup and mustard? I think I heard something like
yep,
that.
Kenny Johnson. So the bet proposal was I have to do the Kenny Johnson tradition, and like he's the only one crazy enough to do that like willingly. So I would have had to do that. So I figured mine was an appropriate response. It's kind of extreme, but so is ketchup and mustard. So, so yes, I will keep you guys posted on that. I'm very excited to see
I
how it
think
actually works out.
I think you should have made a bet with them that they had to drink Shady's tears. That would have been nice, right?
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes. And those tears, oh man, like it. His attitude just kept getting worse and worse. I guess that's a nice segue into the McCoy talk. So, how do you guys feel after the whole week of drama? How this game played out? I'm kind of personally, I'm mixed because I feel bad for the guy, but then I'm like, well, he kind of has been putting this on himself. He could have been seen in a whole different light if he wasn't acting so childish. But at the end of the game, when I first watched it, I didn't know he had kissed the field at the beginning. I was like, oh, that's so sweet, you know? So I kind of felt bad after kind of like, you got what you deserved. Um, so now that I've kind of thought about it, I'm just like, this kid, I think he's scarred for life after this game. And I don't know how he's going to recover from it, being that his mind is so fragile and he's being so immature about it. This was the absolute worst thing that could have happened to him. Like, it was, you guys were there, right?
Oh yeah, we were there sitting next to each other, and to be honest, I mean, I was a little surprised at the booing of Shady.
So when did he get booed? Just right when he came on the field, or did he get booed when he kissed the logo? Like, how did it break down the boos?
He got booed throughout the game for everything. He got booed when he came out of the tunnel for warm-ups. He got booed when he went into the tunnel for warm-ups. He got booed when he was out for the. I mean, GAYLE, correct me if I'm wrong, but that coin toss boo was one of the loudest ones I've heard since Terrell Owens came back to Lincoln Financial Field. Am I right, GAYLE?
Yeah, it was loud. I mean, there were some golf claps in the back, but yeah, people were booing him.
Majority boo. What did you guys do?
Well, I just stayed silent.
You're like, no comment.
I gave the golf clap. I was like, okay, I'll give you that.
Give a clap.
Well, here's the difficult thing. I mean, Shady was always, somebody that needed to be pampered, somebody that needed a pat on the back, somebody that always needed somebody to tell him he was the man. Even when he was here in Philadelphia, the guy's our all-time leading rusher. For 6 years, I mean, he put it all on the line. He was one of the most electrifying running backs, not only for this franchise, but in the entire NFL. Led the league in rushing. Followed up the next year with being third overall in rushing in the league. He got traded. He didn't ask for a trade. He didn't want to leave. He played his college ball at Pitt. He grew up in Harrisburg. He was drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles. He did not want to leave. So, in a way, you have to be a professional and act the role because, you know, you are still getting paid millions of dollars in Buffalo. You got a nice, healthy, new, big, fat contract with the Bills. And you know what? You should just let sleeping dogs, you should just let that go. But I don't blame him for being. It's almost like getting dumped by your hot girlfriend and then having to see that girlfriend at a party with 3 dudes who were there to take your place. I mean, are you not going to at least be a little butthurt over that?
Yeah.
2 dudes and a midget too. You know? Darren's Rose. That's kind of weird, you know. But did you guys hear that story? I think it was Buffalo News. How it was like how his name Shady came to be.
No.
Like LaShawn McCoy's older brother LaRon, who got drafted by the Cardinals, played with Anquan Bolden, and they went on like a brothers vacation, and LaShawn McCoy, 17 years old, wanted to race his older brother, who beat him 2 times in a row. And the 3rd time, he's like, I want to race you again. So his brother was like, no, I'm not racing you. So on that trip, LaShawn was like, if you don't race me, I'm not talking to you. So he didn't talk to his own brother, who was footing the bill for this whole vacation, because he wouldn't race him in the 3rd race. So he asked Anquan Bolden for money during the whole vacation. So his whole crew, Anquan's brothers, no one talked to Shady for the rest of the vacation. So hence Shady. So and it took for months for him to even speak to his brother after that occasion. So that's how, you know, there's some context into the way Shady has always been. His whole family is always known that he's a very moody person. So when he's in his moods, they all just let him do his thing. So yeah, that's how Shady was birthed.
I mean, it all makes sense. I mean, the pattern we're seeing here, it's definitely kind of who he is, like his personality type. Um, so I'm very curious to see how he responds after this, because this was like the build up, and he was so hyped and ready for it, and it just blew up in his face, like in the absolute, like every single thing just did not go his way. The fans were booing, which I'm surprised. I mean, me personally, I would have cheered. I actually wore his jersey during the game because I don't, I remember the good times. You know me, I'm the optimist, the nice person. I don't hold on to the beef. I don't, I don't like to focus on the negative. But um, do you think he, do you think maybe he learned a hard lesson with this whole situation and this game finally being like the the real kind of kick upside the head, like, whoa, I can't be acting a fool anymore? Or do you think he just continues being who he's been?
I mean, you got to keep in mind, this is a 27-year-old young man, and when we were all 27-year-old, we were much different than we are, now. So he
Mm-hmm.
has a lot of growing up to do. I mean, you got to consider this is the same dude, this is the same man who used the Buffalo Bills logo to to advertise an orgy party where women had to submit pictures to even get into the party. So has he
Orgy.
learned his? Well, it was a private party.
I'm sure they were.
Whatever.
I'm sure they were playing Pictionary and stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure there were, non-alcoholic drinks served there and finger sandwiches and stuff like that. But, I mean, what, 10 years from now, will Shady come back to Philadelphia, be recognized as the franchise all-time leading rusher, maybe have a Donovan McNabb-like ceremony where, he gets the golf claps and, hey, Shady's back in town and it's Shady night? Hopefully, but as for right now, this is going to stick with it. Knowing Shady how he is going to stick with him for a long time, and I doubt he learned anything from that.
Some kids never learn, I guess, huh?
Number
What about
25 will
you?
always love you.
You think he's gonna stay same old Shady, Mr. Eagle Session?
And I think Shady's just a very competitive dude, and he's very sensitive. He's
Yeah.
sensitive. I mean, that's his biggest issue. He's just got to learn to get over that, and be more of a professional moving forward. I think I'm sure he learned some things, especially dealing with the media, especially Philadelphia's media. So I mean, they even threw a party for him after the game, which he didn't even show up to. So it was like, I think it was Vinnie Curry and Jason Peters. The only one who showed up to the party was Jason Peters. Even Vinnie Curry didn't show up. So obviously he was still sensitive and didn't even feel like partying for himself. So Shady will grow, but
I'm sure he's
we're
still
moving
kicking
forward
and
as
boots
Eagle
right
fans,
now,
right?
just like your little kitty in the corner.
He's chilling. So can we squash the beef on Shady McCoy?
Hey, it's squash with me. I have no beef with
Okay.
him.
You rock. You're squashing the beef. You done?
Yeah, I didn't have much of a beef to begin with. Again, the guy was traded. He's like a jealous ex-girlfriend. So I mean, it takes time to get over that. I got no beef with the guy.
Yeah.
I never had a beef with the guy.
No beef with Shady.
All right, and in the comments, we got your boy Michael Bish. Says he always respected and loved Shady for being the all-time leading rusher in the franchise history. But when you come to the link, not wearing midnight green, you're the enemy. So, let's
There was a
see.
lot of 20. There was a lot of 25s though. I'll tell you that much.
Hey, I had mine on, but I wasn't there at the stadium. Luis Guzman, if he was mature about it, he wouldn't have gotten booed. I think bottom line, yeah, it's just how he handled it. He would have been cheered, like, I think, louder than any other returning player had he not been throwing all these, throwing all this shade and salt our way. So, Mr. iFlow, Shady Mrs. Philly Man got traded for the wrong the wrong way, but he's a little immature about things, which sucks. But I love that dude. If I could trade Sanchez and DeMarco for him back, I would. So, it seems like majority here is kind of like they're cool with him. So I guess that's kind of why I find it weird that the boos were so heavy. So
No, and they all have absolutely perfect points. I mean, the fact that he was childish about it. We remember when Donovan McNabb came back in a Redskins uniform. I remember that game vividly. Donovan didn't make a that type of fuss. He was upset about it, but he didn't make that type of fuss. People in the comments section, Bish and all them, they have an absolute point. He should have been a little bit more mature about it.
yeah. All right. We got one more in the comments who was not as positive, and this guy's on the border of getting blocked. But not for this comment. I have a little story to tell.
Okay.
The Foiler lives. What's up? What's up, homie? So he's saying, where is this comment? Eagles fans have no class. Never heard of fans booing a player that got traded. So this guy, he's in all my live streams, and he's usually very normal, right? But every now and then, he gives one of those like bipolar type of troll comments. So he did that in my post-game reaction video, and he said, I got my revenge on McCoy, which I've always been kind of just like chill with McCoy, never really like angry about it, and called me a B word. So
nice.
Lives.
Well, this guy needs to go back and learn some history, because when Brett Favre came back in Green Bay wearing a Vikings uniform, pretty sure he got booed as well. So I think he needs to go back and research a little bit about players that got traded and whether or not they were booed when returning to the home stadium. That's not always the case. A lot of times there are applause and are cheers, but dude needs to get a clue. And you know what? Keep the language PG. Jerk off.
Well, see, me normally, I'm like, when people are like angry and crazy, like they're obviously not very rational people, and I'm usually cool with that, and I actually have fun talking people through it. I've converted many trolls into like, oh, normal people, and it's kind of a psychological game for me. But not while I'm pregnant. So I told him, I was like, yo, homie, normally I'll try and work on this whole bipolar,
She's
whatever
like, my
symptom you
emotions are
got going
running
on.
wild.
But being pregnant, I'm not as patient. So since I know you're always watching, Mr. Foiler, I appreciate different opinions, but you got to learn how to talk. Just like LaShawn McCoy has to learn how to handle his differences. This is your final warning, okay? You are on thin ice.
Dun 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 dun.
So, all right. Well, let's get into some more drama and calling people out on their craziness or BS. Chip Kelly's press conference. Philly media. Been kind of this whole crazy side storyline that, after that win against the New England Patriots, right? I was ready just to celebrate. But the media kind of like steered it a different direction, and it was all about, DeMarco Murray and this lame drama incident that, like they didn't really focus on the good that had just happened, and this was like a, we all thought we had no shot type of thing. And then the following week leading up to it, I guess McClain had, well, according to Chip, made up a story about Chip Kelly calling McCoy and him hanging up. So it was all this like stuff, and it's just like pointless. And Chip Kelly in his press conference flat out called him out. I guess McClain was asking him a question about, some of the off the field, stuff, did it affect you? And he's like, nah, I don't buy into that tabloid journalism. And he's like, people just do it to try and seem significant and like making up stories that I called someone, and he's like, wasn't it you? And I was like, oh snaps, like straight up calling the dude out. So what are you guys' thoughts
I think
on?
he dropped the mic. He left after that,
I
didn't
was
he?
like, dude, I don't know if you saw my video. I just posted it on Facebook today. You know, the whole thug life stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I posted that clip, and at the end, I was just like, you know, had to put the stunner shades on because that smirk he does at the end just cracks me up. Like, he looks him dead in his eye, smirk, and is like, all right, I'm out. You know, it was the last thing he said. Me personally, I enjoyed it. I know some people don't like Chip when he does stuff like that, or they think he's arrogant. So I want to kind of get your take on it because I'm still laughing. Like, I'm rewatching that, just like, oh, you got burned. You know, holding these guys accountable. I appreciate that. So, what's your take on Chip Kelly's response to the media?
Well, I mean, I have no feeling on Jeff McClain either way. I'm not a Jeff McClain fan. I don't hate Jeff McClain. I did speak with a couple people in the business, and they really respect him as a reporter. They think that usually if he'll put something out, there's some substance behind it. And as a beat writer, you got to understand about something about being in the media. It is your job to get a story, and when you have a piece of information, a nugget of information, i.e., Elliott Shore Parks with the whole Deshaun Jackson gang situation, you have to be very careful as a reporter, as a writer, because if you write this and you type this and you put it out there, you cannot take it back. So you have to be pretty damn convinced that what you're putting out is indeed accurate. And Jeff McClain, again, I have no feeling for the guy one way or the other, but just reputation alone, usually he'll put stuff out there that he feels confident in or that he's reporting accurately. Now, whether or not it happened, I don't know. Chip Kelly called him out on it. I mean, here we are talking about LaShawn McCoy being a little childish and unprofessional. I kind of get a kick out of it as well, seeing Chip kind of jab back at the media, because that's the media's job, to get those hard-hitting questions, to get those jabs in at Chip, because that's how you build a name for yourself. That's how you get those questions, you get a reaction, you post it on Twitter, you post a video, and you're like, look what I did. So I don't blame Chip for going back at him, but usually when a reporter has something like that, there's some substance behind it, and they're not necessarily making it up.
Yeah. I mean, if he puts his name on it, somebody told him something. So, you know.
Not only
I
did
mean,
somebody tell him something, but somebody would have to then verify that in order for that thing to even be published. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Well said. I'm good.
You're good. All right. Well, hey, man, I'm after my frustrations with the media the past 2 weeks. I was kind of like, all right. I like seeing, like, because I guess what bothers me is they just kind of do that kind of stuff, and then it's like, nobody really says anything, and they're not really kind of held accountable or brought to, like, oh, yeah, you said this and it wasn't true. And me, I just take more of I don't try and subscribe to that type of stuff anyways. I'm more selective with how I navigate through my Eagles news, but
I mean, they got stories to sell, and they got clickbait articles. You just have to you gotta read those headlines. If it's too juicy, then
uh,
it's too juicy. Don't touch that one. You know.
all right, all right. Well, let's get into the actual game this week. It's kind of a big deal facing the freaking Arizona Cardinals, a team we like to lose to, and a team that's really hot right now. Um, I'm I'm taking the same approach as these past 2 weeks, where the odds aren't as in our favor, but therefore I don't expect a lot. I go in just kind of chilling, and if anything good happens, I'll take it. So how are you guys feeling about this matchup versus Arizona? The one thing I like is that they're actually traveling versus us having to go to Arizona, where we always we just lay down and die. So, Iraq, thoughts on Arizona coming to Philly?
Well, once is an accident, or once is an accident, twice is a coincidence, 3 times is a trend. So if you can beat the New England Patriots, the best in the AFC, and then you can fight hard against the Buffalo Bills, and then you can come on Black Sunday, on Sunday Night Football in front of a national audience, and beat a 10-2 Arizona Cardinals team, against the guy, Bruce Arians, who has been hypercritical, not that I haven't or anything, of Chip Kelly. Um, it's a statement game. You don't necessarily need to win this game in order to win the East. It depends, a lot depends on the way the Washington Redskins and the New York Giants finish out. But if you do beat the Cardinals, wow, really, what a statement.
Yeah, I'm excited about this game. I think it's an opportunity, like, to make a huge statement. You look at the Patriots game, the team gathered around their coach and their owner and beat the Patriots. It was us versus Patriots. Last week it was like the Shady Bowl. The whole team got together and got behind, each other and beat the Bills and Shady. So this week, Arians, he said a lot of things about Chip and his offense and his system. This is an opportunity for his players once again to get behind him and make a statement and say that, hey, we're a team. We might be the underdog, but we're gonna go at you guys. So I feel like us as the underdogs, I think it's the perfect opportunity. That's where you want to be as an Eagle team. So hey, I
And
think
I agree with you, Gail. I think the drama helps get this team just to play an extra notch up, And the two previous games have had that, like the most extreme amount of drama. Um, this one, the whole Bruce Arians story, yeah, it has a little bit. It's not as strong. Like with the Patriots, everyone hates them. They are just, and with all the drama with the fan, like there was all this crazy drama that I think the players were able to hype themselves up and just play out of their minds. And then the whole McCoy story, they had to prove that point, that's for sure. Has Bruce Arians done anything recently to throw any jabs at Chip? I know he did it last season before the game, right?
he's been throwing his jabs all during the
Still?
season this year. Yeah, but you also got to think Arians got interviewed for this Eagles job
Mm-hmm.
as well. And Arians is a Temple. He coached at Temple for 5 years, so he's a he's a native of New Jersey. So he wanted that job so bad, and Chip Kelly got that job. So he's probably a little emo about the situation. Um, so he wants to beat Chip badly. So I feel like his team will rally around him as well.
All right, all right.
Here's a question for you guys. It's just popped in my head. I'll throw it to you guys.
Okay.
Would you rather have have Bruce Arians right now as the head coach of Philadelphia or Chip Kelly? Knowing where the team is, I'm not saying switching teams. Remember, Bruce Arians took over a Cardinals team that was struggling. Look where they are now, right now, 10-2, and the top of a pretty tough division. So I'm going to throw it to you guys. Would you rather have Bruce Arians at this point as your head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, or stay with Chip Kelly?
Gail, you
I'll,
first. I'm gonna
I'll
say
let you put me on the spot first.
yes. You know how much I love Chip. I gotta really think this through.
I mean, the other day I was watching a Cardinals game and I was like, man, I'm watching. I actually talk to myself while I watch games sometimes, and I was like, man, look at those guys. They're actually that team is playing for their coach. You could tell when a team actually is playing for their coach, and I got a little jealous. I was just like, man, at the time when we were going through all our things, I was like, man, I wish we had that. You know what I mean? Um, I mean, I think he's a guy that people would. If he was the Eagles coach, the city would rally around him. Yeah, I mean, he's done a lot of great things. He got a great resume. The things he did in Pittsburgh, and went down to Arizona. I mean, I'd say yeah.
All right, you would take Arians over Chip right now.
Ooh.
That's what you would say. Okay, me, I'm, you know, you can't look at the Cardinals record right now versus the Eagles record because it's two different teams. Like I would be curious what Chip Kelly would do with the Cardinals. Like where would he be at right now with that same team? Where they have more stability. You know, they've had the same quarterback, and they have veteran receivers like Fitz who just can like light it up, especially against the Eagles. So there's a little more consistency. So it's hard to compare right now what Chip Kelly is doing versus what Arians is doing. Um, I I still like Chip. I still want to see him follow his plan through because I think there are going to be some surprises, you know, and it's hard to predict what's going to happen. But who predicted us beating these last two teams? And if we happen to pull out another win, again, it's another surprise we didn't anticipate. So, um, I I would keep Chip still, but in all this fire Chip Kelly craze, he is a guy that I would be just as happy if we replace Chip with. So I would like him as a substitute.
That is a very good answer, Delia. You
Right, man.
treaded along that minefield very gently.
You know, you know.
Now, where do
And
you
what is
stand on that?
and yeah,
Me?
where do you stand, Iraq?
Um, well, first of all, you're going back to what you said. If Chip Kelly had the Arizona Cardinals, I don't know. I'd like to think that that offense would be dangerous, but you never know. He might trade away Larry Fitzgerald and start cutting guys along the offensive line and trading his running back, and they could be in the same position. Um, I like Bruce Arians as a person. He's a guy who groomed Big Ben into the quarterback that he is. He's a guy who went to Indianapolis to help out Andrew Luck and ended up taking over for Chuck Pagano when he was sick. I think he's a class guy. I think he's a good football mind. I think he's spent enough time in this league where he knows what he's doing. He knows how the NFL is run. That's not to say that Chip Kelly won't eventually catch up to that. I like Bruce Arians. For me, the jury's still out on Chip. He lost my faith. He regained my faith. I see less of a roller coaster ride with Bruce Arians, but I'm going to ride this Chip Kelly thing out.
And he
Oh.
rocks a Kango. And he rocks the Cardinals Kango. That's pretty. I don't know any other
Yeah.
coach that can let off.
And I'm a fan of the hat. I wore a similar hat today, so I'm a fan of the cabbie hat.
Oh,
It
wow.
takes a lot
Right.
of swag as a coach to rock that Kango and pedophile glasses.
Wow. All right, sticking with Chip. I like it. I like it. He's slowly winning you back. I see you, Iraq. Well, I guess we're gonna learn a lot about these two coaches this Sunday. Now we brought up Fitz. I mean, we've seen kind of his track record against this team. Like Fitz doesn't always have like great years, or he doesn't blow up on every team. But when it comes to the Eagles, like, dude, he's always just making these big plays. He's always burning, uh, whatever guy we have at safety, cornerback. It happens every time without fail. So I'm curious with the team we have now, we have a much more improved secondary compared to what we used to have. But now, um, who is it? Is it Byron Maxwell? He has kind of like this lingering ankle thing going on. Do we know if he's probable?
He's gonna have to go. He's gonna have to go. He has no choice, really.
Yeah, he's gonna go this week.
He is? Because
He got
I
injured on
saw.
the play. Ed Reynolds bumped into him. That's how he got injured. But
Okay,
he's gonna
so he's
go.
there because I was like, uh-oh, I saw we signed some cornerback dude and then dropped him and this other safety dude. So I was like, uh-oh, are these like panic moves just in case he's not going to be able to play? All right, so that was kind of one of my concerns. Do you see Fitz kind of having a field day again on the Eagles?
Hmm. I mean, the guy's put up like a season worth of stats in like 7 games against the Eagles. The guy's put up 47 receptions, 802 yards, and 11 touchdowns in 7 games against the Eagles. But I think he's working from the slot. Malcolm Jenkins will, I think, give him a go. I think I don't think he can't explode. I mean, he's been doing it for years, but I don't. I think this is the game where we shut him down.
All right.
But John Brown is another story.
Oh,
That guy's a field stretcher, so I think us showing a lot of attention to Larry Fitzgerald. I think John Brown is the guy that scares me the most of the crew.
Yeah, I mean, Larry Fitzgerald, look, he has torched and killed and murdered the Eagles year after year after year. And to be completely honest with you, if I'm going to see anybody in the NFL torch the Eagles like he does, I'm almost kind of happy to see it be Larry Fitzgerald. I mean, we just talked about LaShawn McCoy. Larry Fitz is a guy who is so dedicated to that franchise that drafted him. And through those years where he had Kurt Warner and he was putting up killer stats. They went through a period where, the quarterback situation was in flux. They had John Skelton starting. They had all these no-name guys starting. And never once did you hear Larry Fitzgerald bitch or moan or complain. If he was asked to block, he would block. If he was asked to play tough football, he would play tough football. And when it was his opportunity to get the ball, he made the best of it and never complained once. So I hope he doesn't go off on the Eagles again. But looking back on it, if anybody is going to go off on the Eagles, I don't want to say I'm happy, but I'm a big Larry Fitzgerald fan, and I think he deserves all the credit in the world.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. And at this point, the Eagles really do control their destiny. Um, and that has me flashing back to when they controlled their destiny last season, and I'm kind of like terrified about that. um,
That's the weird part about this season. That is the weird part about this season. Right now, we're all riding pretty high, but who is this team? What is this team? Is this team the team that lost miserably against the Cowboys and lost against the Redskins and then had that real bad 3-game stretch? Or is this the team that beats the Patriots? Like, you bring up an excellent point. We all thought they were the team the first two-thirds of last season. Now we're staring at, what, the last 3 games, right? Last 3 games of the season?
yep.
We're going to find out what this team is really made of and whether it is Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde.
Oh man, I'm scared. Shout out to Brandon at City in the comments. He loved your Fitz response, E-Rock.
Thank
Um,
you.
and ECW, going back to the last question, says he would take Bruce Arians. And he's confident he wouldn't have cut Tebow. All right.
Oh, Gavin.
Well, I think it's time to wrap up the Eagles talk. Any last comments, questions, or anything you'd like to add before we sign off? Or not sign off, go into the next,
Um,
which is
there was, did we talk about Sam Bradford?
no, we didn't.
I mean,
Let's talk about Sam Bradford real quick.
he's just 5-1 in his last 6 starts. Are we getting any love for Sam Bradford next season?
Well,
I
you
mean,
already
hey,
know I got love.
yeah, I mean,
I'm
hey, look,
talking new contract love.
Oh.
if he plays like he played the last 2 games, you have to seriously start considering signing him long term. And I'm not talking about 17 to 20 mil, top elite pay, but he's above average. He's not great, but if he can play football where he can get you, I don't know, 250 yards, a pair of touchdowns, and like 1 pick, you will have a chance to win every single game with those kind of stats. Um, and if he continues to play at this level, it's a good enough level where he'll earn himself a contract, and I won't have a problem with that.
That's Sammy Biscuit love from E. What about you, Delia?
Well, I've always kind of liked to think that he has potential. And we're seeing he's not that he has good potential as a player, that he has a good leader kind of locker room presence with amongst all the other players, and that's something that you can't really not all players have that, and that's almost more important than their actual skill in in my mindset. But I was reading an article this week. Even Bruce Arians was talking about Sam Bradford, and he sees him as a very highly regarded player. And Bruce Arians, he knows his quarterbacks, and it's nice to see people seeing the potential in him as well. But the problem is, you know, if he doesn't play, if he gets injured, we're screwed. So I think, yes, we pay him. We do, since he's our best option right now, quarterback is the most important position, so you gotta have the best option available. But we definitely need to step up our backup situation too. So
Yeah, I think if he balls out the next couple games, gets him into the playoffs, I think then we start talking about some future love for Sam Bradford. I think if not, we still got to groom a quarterback from the draft, maybe third round, fourth round. But also, I mean, this other point, we at the game, we're watching the game, and there was this random clap that was like so annoying. Like everybody in our section kept turning around, and
I remember this.
it was Sam Bradford's mother.
what?
Yes, and then E found that out. How'd you find that out, E?
Um, this lady behind us was just like the whole entire game, and you can clap like this, but when you're doing it the entire game, it is so friggin' annoying. So we kept everybody kept turning around, being like, "Lady, what is your problem?" She's up in a box seat. Me and GAYLE are lower level, and we just noticed that it happened to be like when the offense was on the field, that whole box would stand up, and the more I looked at her, I'm like, "Damn, she kind of looks like Bradford." And then I Googled Bradford's mom, and there she was, and
Bradford's mom's got it going on.
not a bad looking lady, I might add.
Oh, watch out!
We might have a cougar crush on Sam Bradford's mom.
All right, now all the viewers right now are about to Google Sam Bradford's mom.
Yeah.
That'll
And every
start
time she
trending
started
too.
clapping, everyone was like, "Everybody, clap your hands." Yeah. Yes.
I think that's so sweet, though. The overly supportive mom. Like, dude, if my mom would have totally been doing that too, like just over the top celebrations. But I think that's sweet.
It put an interesting perspective on what a family goes through watching their son play a professional game, because when we figured out it was Bradford's mom, when you'd see him get hit, me and GAYLE would both quickly like turn and look up, and you would see like this, you're about to have a child. I have two kids myself, and you saw this overwhelming look of concern and clenching the fist and biting the fist, and you start to look at that like, wow, these players' families are watching this game, and what they must be going through, the good and the bad. It almost kind of made you feel for them a little bit.
Aw, that's a cute story. I like that.
Yeah.
Good
Shout out to
job.
Mrs. Biscuits.
Good job, Gail, in bringing that up. Well, cool. Next time you see her, give her a high five for me. Tell her
Well done.
PhilaDehlia says what's up. And I'm still behind her boy, cheering him on, hoping for the best. So, all right. Well, E-Rock, let everyone know where they can find you when you're not on Iggles Landing Podcast every Wednesday.
Well, I am on Twitter at the Mighty E-Rock, Instagram at the Mighty E-Rock, and YouTube, youtube.com/the Mighty E-Rock. And Delia, I'll be honest with you, this entire podcast, I've been gazing off at the wall and thinking to myself, because we brought up you brought up a very interesting show topic for next week. And I think I'm game.
Okay.
So why don't you tell everybody watching right now what that show topic is gonna be? It is gonna be the highest rated Eagles Landing podcast in history. So Delia, why don't you go ahead and you inform the people what they're gonna view next week?
Are we talking a little Twitter beef action?
We're talking Twitter beef.
Ooh.
Okay, all right. So, as many of you know, I like to do a little squash in the beef segment, and E-Rock has been having lots of beef on Twitter with various Eagles players, and it's definitely interesting. And this week, we didn't really have any of that with players, but there is this one um, fellow Eagles YouTuber. I mean, we're all kind of a small circle of Eagles YouTubers that make videos consistently and that have been doing it for a very long time. Um, and there's it's no secret that Iraq is, I guess, has some beef with one of the other YouTubers that's also a friend of mine, and I'm sure all of you are familiar with him. He goes by a three-letter name, kind of abbreviation, EDP. Y'all familiar? Y'all know? So, being that I know these guys so well, and I love both of them, they're just amazing in their own ways. I find it very interesting because every now and then, because I talk with E-Rock every week, I see EDP every week, and every now and then, EDP will say, "Oh, you know what? E-Rock kind of tweeted this about me," and I was like, "Oh, really? That's interesting." And then I haven't really been able to see the tweets, but I would like to get kind of the whole perspective and kind of what's going on with this beef between two people that I know and care about a lot, and potentially talk it out, let them talk it out, and squash it out, so we can all be one big happy YouTube Eagles family.
Well, Delia, this could go one of two ways. It could go
Okay.
the way you just described, or it could be a complete train wreck. You know, well, I guess we'll have to tune in and find out.
Yes, it'll be very interesting, but I think based on what I know, it'll be good. So, all right. Well, dang. I think on that note, we just have to end the podcast. Like, I
Ooh, mic drop.
don't.
Oh.
Normally we go into NFL stuff, but I'm gonna be thinking about this the whole time. I don't like.
Well, I was thinking about it the entire podcast. I was like half paying attention, half thinking, should I do this? Should I not do this? I don't want to give. I don't want to walk away from not hearing anybody out
Okay.
their side of the story. I certainly don't want to make this an attack mode thing, or but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Gayle, your thoughts? Curious on your
Yeah.
thoughts.
It's gonna be one happy family. That's what I think it's gonna be bringing great minds together. We're gonna do it for the people.
Well, and again, the podcast is about all types of Eagles fans, different personalities, different perspectives. So
Delia, you better plug the hell out of this thing.
I will give him the heads up. We'll schedule it for same time, Wednesday, between 6 and 6:15 start time, West Coast time, which is 9:15 your time. And we can chat about this further and get ready for this is going to be the most epic. Oh, I'm dropping the mic already. The most epic squashing the beef session we've ever had. So,
We need theme music.
yes, we need something.
It's gonna be a bonanza.
Oh,
Out the
snaps.
door.
Mr.
Everybody
iFlow,
tune in.
Wednesday.
tell your friends it's going down.
It's about to go down. Oh, that was
All
amazing.
right, well there you have it, folks. Make sure you stay tuned. Subscribe here. I have my YouTube link in the description where you can subscribe. I also have E-Rock's YouTube link and Eagles Sessions YouTube link in the description, so you can just click on those, subscribe. We all make Eagles videos every week, and yeah, I'm excited. Let's hopefully we'll be in a good mood next week. Hopefully the Eagles don't do their whole bipolarness, but all right, I think we're gonna wrap it up here, folks. Any final thoughts, Gayle?
Hey, go Birds. I will be at the game again if you're gonna go tailgate F1, hit the mighty E-Rock up. It's gonna be a great time.
All right, and shout out to Taco 2012 up in the comments. He says, oh yeah, EDP coming on the podcast. Bring on the Rocky music. So, all right, well, everybody, I'm excited. Make sure you tell your friends. This is going to be a very interesting live podcast, which means anything can happen next week. So get ready, and stay tuned. So that's it, folks. No NFL talk today. E-Rock just kind of dropped this bomb on us. We didn't know.
Mic drop.
Decided to talk about anything else. So that's it. It's your girl Dahlia signing out with the homies. Mighty E-Rock and GAYLE. Peace.
Deuces.